Memory, the power or process of remembering what has been learned. Pride, reasonable or justifiable self-respect. Together, these two are the fires that fuel and sustain the Jewish people. A letter to memory and to pride. Dear Memory and Pride, I hope this finds you both healthy and safe. I felt compelled to write to you both on this Kol Nidre, the sacred portal to Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, after realizing what a beautiful shidduch, what a beautiful match you two make together. Memory. Over the past few weeks, I have been stirred by you after seeing a number of posts on social media. Many students heading off to college. Such beautiful moments. Photos of students sitting on their beds in their new dorm rooms. Parents proudly posting snapshots of neat and unprecedented organization in their child's new independent living space. I don't think it's going to last so long. Students enthusiastically posing with their new roommates or in front of famous college campus landmarks. Incredible. New beginnings, new friendships, new challenges and opportunities. Such powerful moments that are now enshrined in the digital archives of the interwebs. Memory, you were hard at work for me in seeing those images as you brought to mind the early days of my freshman year at the University of Michigan. Go Blue. I recall my first walk across the Diag on Central Campus, my first time stepping into the College of Art and Architecture building, where I would spend much of my first few years. And then one of you, Memory, that stands out powerfully. The first time one of my roommates learned that I was Jewish. Man, I've never met a Jewish person before. Can I feel your horns? Just a few days later, another student also learning that I was Jewish said, I guess Jews are okay, but I didn't know that you can be a spick and a Jew. This was in Ann Arbor. No doubt, Memory, those experiences from freshman year are formidable, and they still arouse so many emotions and questions. Potential new lifelong friends with preconceived notions of who I was. I recall thinking, would I be accepted? What would I need to do to prove myself? Would I need to hide my Jewish identity, something I was really proud of until those moments? Our capacity to store and retrieve you is extremely powerful. You help shape our identity, how we behave, who we want to be, how we grow, and how we change. You anchor us to moments in time which we might embrace or want to run away from altogether. I've been thinking a lot about you since Rosh Hashanah, when I spoke about anti-Semitism. Such a raw and painful topic. This evening, I feel that you and Pride have much to offer in this moment. A belief in you to help educate, inspire, and empower me and us to reject such hatred. Memory. Not sure if you know this, but you are at the core of Jewish identity and tradition. A strong thread that is woven through our ritual and textual fabric. We bring you up so many times in our tradition, your ears must be ringing. At our Passover Seders, we're mandated to recall that in every generation, each person must see himself as if personally experienced the Exodus from Egypt. In that annual ritual, you help us recall the bitterness of slavery, the 10 plagues, the flight to freedom, and the beginning of the renewal of our covenant with God. We've come up with different names for you. Zachor, remembrance, so often appearing in our prayer books and other sacred texts. The ritual of Yizkor, when we reflect and recall our loved ones. Zichronot, shofar service. Zochreinu l'chaim, remembering us unto life. All of these allow us to immerse ourselves in you in such varied ways. My dear Pride, from time to time, as I reflect on those moments in college, I think about how you have helped me to elevate and inspire my own Jewish identity and transcend the ignorance I was presented with. I receive emails from friends and congregants regularly where you're accentuated. Some boast about the 22% of all Nobel Prize winners being Jewish, despite only being 0.02% of the global population. They articulate how Israel is pioneering and developing water desalination technologies for third world countries. They enumerate the enormous reach of Jewish inventions, the Intel chip in every cell phone, the miracle of drip irrigation, and other advances such as laser technology, the pacemaker, global vaccines, or smaller inventions like the theory of general relativity. Sometimes I live vicariously through you, Pride, especially when I learn about the accomplishments of other Jews. I remember the moment I learned of Sandy Koufax sitting out the World Series for Yom Kippur, watching a documentary on Hank Greenberg as he spoke of defeating Hitler with each home run. I love watching Gal Gadot triumph as Wonder Woman and remain enamored with the sheer intellectual genius of luminaries such as Einstein, Freud, and the great warrior Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. After all the persecution, our people have and continue to accomplish so much. It is truly remarkable. We just don't survive, we thrive. We leave an indelible mark on every generation we touch. I will admit, while living vicariously through you can be affirming, it's not enough. In the face of the recent rise in anti-Semitism, I've been asking myself, what makes me truly proud of my Jewish identity? What makes me and others want to wear our identity like a badge of honor that is worth preserving or fighting for? Let's be honest. Accessing and sustaining a deep sense of Jewish peoplehood and belonging today has become increasingly challenging for so many, particularly among American Jews. Apathy, a general separation from the Holocaust, and other disconnects have strained our connections with you. How can we truly feel you in our identities if you are not rooted in our actual experience? Memory and pride, this is where your joint power shines through to help me and us in the Jewish community along. You both have helped to spark a societal revolution. This transformation begins with a pioneering moral code of conduct, Torah, a sophisticated instruction book with great emphasis on pursuing justice, treating our neighbor as we wish to be treated, and welcoming the stranger, including those who wish to be part of the Jewish people. It teaches how to be protective of the environment and animals, how to fight fairly, how to create balanced weights and measures and judgments. Some of those instructions have even found their way into our civil laws and are inscribed on important domestic symbols as a proof text for the defense of human dignity. Your powerful union allows our ancestors to be revolutionary in introducing the concept of universal education to the entire world. First instituted in Israel at the end of the Second Temple period. While education among most nations was confined solely to a priestly caste, Jews were commanded to become a nation of priests, an innovation that was to shape Jewish and global life from that point on. At our best, we always strive to be inclusive of all types of learners. Our rabbinical authorities nearly 2,000 years ago were also aware that concentration of authority was against the ethos of Torah. Diffusing authority and responsibility for survival outward to every member of the community would allow Jewish civilization to thrive, not only survive. Memory and pride. Your impression and emphasis on learning and asking questions, no doubt, is sacrosanct. In the Shema, our central declaration of faith, the mandate, Vishinantam levanecha, and you shall teach them these words to your children, consecrates this directive as we pass down the teachings of the Dor Vador from generation to generation. From the Seder table to the classroom and beyond, we are encouraged to ask questions, to wrestle and even refute the rabbis, to challenge the most widely held beliefs. Judaism emphasizes the importance of thinking for ourselves while preserving the utmost respect for divergent opinions. Memory and pride. Your motivation inspired our efforts as proto-pluralists, among the very first to challenge the status quo and insist that we should have the right to worship differently than others, ultimately becoming a bedrock principle in most democratic societies. Pride and memory. We utilize you to focus on the brokenness of our world and to acknowledge that we have a significant role in its repair. This means entering into a partnership with the divine in Tikkun Olam, the repair of our broken world, and recognize that this work is not to be outsourced to a divine power or to others. It is ours, yours and my responsibility throughout our lifetime. I, along with many others, have worked hard to advance social justice in the world because we took a descriptive Jewish historical experience and sought to make it prescriptive as to how we should and could behave in this world. We remain committed to opening our hearts and working with our non-Jewish partners, recognizing that the sum of our parts could make something entirely more meaningful and this world just a little more whole. Memory and pride. Your impact is deeply felt as we marvel at the almost unimaginable determination to persevere against all odds, while remaining determined to manifest a brighter future. The author Mark Twain, an admirer of the Jewish people, once noted in amazement, "All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces past, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality?" Pride and memory. Whether a Jew by lineage or by choice, your powerful influence helps us remain inextricably linked to the generations that preceded us, those that prioritize milestone moments, bless their children at the Shabbat table, retold the annual primer of freedom at the Seder table, yearning for next year in Jerusalem. They awakened to the call of the shofar and fasted on this day as a means to spiritual direction and renewal. And those that bestowed the new generation with Hebrew names created a permanent link in the annals of Jewish lineage and continuity. Memory and pride. You both inspire an evolution of broad inclusion. In 2021, we are religion, ethnicity, and heritage, tribe and nationality. We are gender binary and gender fluid. We are cultural and secular, atheist and believer. We are movement, identified, orthodox, conservative, reconstructionist, reform. We are pluralistic and universalist. We are LGBTQIA and Jews of color. We are insider and outsider. We are wanderer and settler. We are pacifist and activist. We are Zionist, and we are witness. Pride and memory. Your collective inspiration has tasked us with holding our civilization's perpetual mourning, along with ceaseless gratitude at the same time. Mourning for all that we've lost. Millions of people in the Holocaust, victims of pogroms and inquisitions, exiles and blood libels and modern manifestations of anti-Semitism. At the same time, we can continue to hold endless gratitude for being able to journey through life, for having more freedom and opportunity than in any other time in Jewish civilization, for having a modern Jewish homeland, the yearning of our ancestors over the past 2 millennia, with the establishment of the modern state of Israel. Your combined power, your life-sustaining history, is our mandate to fight against anti-Semitism and ever strive for a better world that holds promise for all people who aspire to live in freedom and in peace. Elie Wiesel said that being a Jew means not seeking to make the world more Jewish, but more human. To be Jewish with divine presence is to know how precious it all is, how much there is to be thankful for, how much more needs to be done. to be partners with God and to take our work seriously. How far we have to climb, how tedious, but how glorious the journey. I share this letter with you on the eve of Yom Kippur, as I know that Kol Nidre brings warmth and belonging into our sacred space. We hear the familiar notes and melody as one. We begin our holiest day connected to each other and to Jewish communities throughout the world. At the same time, it also connects us to a deep sadness, a collective sorrow of trauma and hatred we have and continue to endure. Memory and pride, thank you. Thank you for teaching me how to hold you both in this moment. Your presence is critical and necessary to pass on. You helped me transcend those early college moments and support others in helping find their own paths. For those gifts you bestowed upon me, I offer this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai she'asani Yisrael. Blessed you are Adonai who has made me a Jew, for our cultures and traditions, for our food and humor and diversity. Bruchat Yah she'asani Yisrael. Blessed you are Adonai who has made me a Jew, for learning and dialogue, for commitment to the continuation of Jewish life, for the warmth and beauty, the challenges and complexity behind all that family brings. Baruch atah Adonai she'asani Yisrael. Blessed you, Adonai, who has made me a Jew, for justice and action, for holding on to memory, pride, loss, and gratitude. Bruchat Yah she'asani Yisrael. Blessed you, Adonai, who has made me a Jew, for reminding us to always ask ourselves, what are we yearning for? What are we looking to pass on to the next generation? Baruch atah Adonai she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who by design or choice has made me a Jew. With much gratitude, love, and appreciation, Jason.